So let's get my thoughts on this 49ers training camp so far for these few days. I mean, just from looking at the training camp, I feel like the secondary is something that's pretty much been something we've been lacking for last year. Maybe the interceptions were something that kind of made up for the weakest spot, but I feel like this is probably the most promising position because the cornerback position. Because the opposite of Travarius Ward was probably one of the weakest spots that nobody paid attention to. I feel like the nickel spot is solidified with Lenore playing that spot. And you got Travarius Ward entering a contract year. But you got this kid, Isaac Yadakam. We just signed to a one-year deal from the New Orleans Saints. He is looking good as advertising just from looking at the film, looking at the other stuff. I mean, I'm getting stuff from Twitter. So I'm kind of feeling optimistic about the secondary. This might be the most promising position that's been improved for quite some time. But you look at the other side, I mean, you see the defensive line. Outside of Bosa and Leonard Floyd, Shervon Hargrave looks like in better shape than he's ever looked. So he might redeem himself. I mean, you got guys like Jordan Elliott that we signed in free agency to a 2-year deal. Then you got somebody like Yotur Gross Matos, who could be a sleeper pickup. I mean, we shall see. I mean, you got other positions. You got Malik Collins. This can be a steal. I mean, this could be a question mark. Can we stop the run? I mean, looking at training camp, it seems like that's something we've been kind of having an issue with. So maybe with this type of coaching staff that we got now, because no Steve Wilks. Steve Wilks was pretty much giving us some issues at the run defense part. It's been one of the weakest spots we've had last year, but maybe this could improve. So I give it the benefit of the doubt from the coaching. Maybe Brandon Staley is not a bad coach. Maybe he's quite a good position coach or a defensive coordinator guy. Maybe that's where he's meant to be. Not all coaches are meant to be head coaches, but looking at the way he coaches the players, maybe this is exactly what we need on our defense to get better. So then you look at the promising spots. You look at safety. Once Hufanga gets clear and healthy, I feel like this is the most strength in our secondary. But Malik Mustafa is looking good as advertising, So you got to be excited about this kid. This kid is built like a wrestler or built like Metcalf, but this guy looks like he's going to knock somebody out, But you look at the other spots. Linebacker, all I've seen is D. Winters. D. Winters is making noise, so I'm excited to see what this kid's made for. Undersized linebacker, runs a 4.3 speed. Seems like the kind of guy that looks a lot better shape than last year, so he can be somebody that you guys got to watch out for. I mean, you look at the other spots. The offensive line, to me, is like, it needs to be better. No offense to the rest of that offensive line. Outside of Trent Williams, which he's holding out right now, you got to pay this guy because you don't have anybody else outside of Aaron Banks. This offensive line is freaking below average, man. You see Jake Brendel, he is not the answer. I've been saying this. A lot of you content creators are starting to catch on to what I'm saying. I've been pointing fingers on that guy being the weakest spot. Then you look at John Feliciano. He's only here for one more year. But Spencer Burford, we gotta expect him to get better, man. I'm hoping for this guy to get better, man. I really like the kid, but he's got to get better, bro. Just no offense about it. But then you look at Colt McKivitz. He's considered one of the weakest spots, I mean, maybe this will be his better year. Maybe the fact that he got a full year under his belt, maybe he can get better, because it's all about continuity. It's all about working as a team, and maybe with that kind of season of him under his belt, it can get better, We'll see. But I feel like that's one of the weakest spots is offensive line. So I'm just saying that's one concern spot is that offensive line for sure. You look at the wide receiver position, it's pretty promising. It's pretty deep, man. But Danny Gray is kind of putting himself out there, man. He has to have his best camp, which he's having so far. But you look at the other guys, Jacob Cowing. You got Ricky Pearsall. You got Jawan Jennings. You got Deebo Samuel in better shape. Ayuk is yet to get his contract done. But you see that group is pretty strong. You even got Tariq Owens. You got Owens' son out there. So it's pretty much anybody's guess. Chris Conley, they just signed Malik Turner. So it's going to be an interesting uphill battle because I think the 5 receiver spots are pretty locked. I think the number 6 spot will be interesting. You look at the tight end group. Outside of George Kittle, it's an okay group. I mean, you got Logan Thomas, you got Braden Willis, you got Solbert, and you got Cameron Love too. This is number 2 spot. It's up for grabs, man. I'm intrigued by that spot. You look at the running back group, it's pretty strong. It's one of the strengths of this Niners team. Brock Purdy having a full offseason, it's going to be intriguing. He's definitely going to have a better year. You look at that position, bro, I think he's going to solidify himself as an MVP this year. That's how I'd look at it.